This conference will
So
now
once
be
again,
recorded.
welcome everyone for my session on AZ104, which is the course code from Microsoft, and we call this certification track as Microsoft Certified Azure Administrator. So here I'm going to discuss about something interesting about this course and why you need to go for such components, and a demo on Azure Traffic Manager combined with a service named Azure Web App, which could help you to implement a kind of business continuity and disaster recovery architecture. Now, newbies, don't worry. This is nothing complex. This is simple. It's just the terms, the naming, which will be differing for you. Now here, you can know about your instructor. As I said, my name, it's Kishore Chowdhury, and I'm a cloud consultant running my own company with the name as Cloud Beaver Technologies. And regarding to my expertise, I work on Azure, AWS, AI, IoT, and machine learning services. Mostly I play around these as a hobby, whereas Azure is my full-time play area where I work in almost all the domains in Azure. So I'm a Microsoft partner. So my company is a Microsoft partner where we work with most of the Microsoft clients closely, and even with Microsoft in certain cases where we implement solutions, we deliver corporate trainings and all these. So as of now, I've been reached with a milestone like training more than 5,000 plus professionals in the industry, and with a small expertise like let's say 10 plus years, not even more than 10. Within like 10 years is the thing which is total of my expertise, which I've been into the industry for consultation, but yet I gave a very good performance for corporate training, which you will come to know in sometime. So the corporates to which I have reached, if you see, it's like Wipro, Infosys, Microsoft, Vodafone Idea, TIAA, AstraZeneca, Accenture, Etisalat, Research Machine, IBM, Emirates, ADA, EMAR, Etihad, DP World, and a lot of the corporates for the last couple of years in the Middle East data center regions, or let's say in a simple word, the Middle East geographical regions. So data center, I said because we are in the cloud discussion now, but practically the Middle East. For the last couple of years, I've been like every week in the sense like from Sunday to Saturday or Sunday to Thursday in most cases, I'll be continuously delivering corporates the trainings on different services in Azure. And at this point, you can see I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, which is mentioning that you can do such corporate trainings with high fees. I'm a Microsoft certified Azure security engineer. I'm a certified Azure developer. I'm a certified DevOps engineer, certified solution architect, and a certified administrator as well. So in a simple context, I play around every area in Azure, and that's what I do. Now, as mentioned, most of you gave me your details already. So just to know this, one simple thing you can mention in the chat, what is your prime expectation from the session? That is alone sufficient for me. So currently your details, all these you mentioned. So what is my expectation after my 1.5 to 2 hours of fruitful time I'm giving to you? What is the thing I'm going to expect from you? That is what Kishore is going to give you, and what is your expectation? Mention that, so that could help me to drive the session in a more better environment, so that all of you will be happy about your 2 hours of time that you're spending. Now to start with, what is Azure? That's what the first thing. Since most of you have already been working on it and most of you are new, just let's go with a small quick intro, then we'll play around the demo. So what is Azure? For that question, this is the default description given by Microsoft, where they're mentioning that Azure is a cloud platform and it has like 200 plus products that they are maintained, and it could be a developed solution, or it could be a developed product, or it could be a developed architecture that they are giving to you, where you can take them and build solutions or host solutions or even consume their solutions is the overall procedure. To make it simple, it could be the word what is cloud or what is Azure. It is all about I purchase the physical CPUs, physical RAM, physical storage, and etc. that makes a computer. So in a simple word, a computer. Now take an example for newbies. You play games, PUBG, you take it, or you take Free Fires, or you take any other games you play, which could be Clash of Clans, or it could be a normal Facebook application you're working with. Have you ever thought like how I'm able to access this application? In case if you're a new personal, which is understanding the software architectures, just try to understand. The reality in the background is they are running in a server, or in other words, in a computer, which is having CPU core, RAM, storage, and etc. And that's something you can maintain on your own. But when you speak about a organization, there are many requirements we will have. That's where we go for a cloud service provider so that they will give me the following. So first of all, what a cloud service provider will give me. So let's say a small picture I'll show you. So this is a one, just to make you people to understand this. In an organization, if you just see this, you see the word data center rack. That's what this is, an internal view of a data center that comes with CPU core and RAM, which is maintained in a place where you, me, and any customer can go and use these. And it's not like a normal computer with laptops and all these you see. This is for newbies. Again, I'm saying that it's for newbies who can't understand it. So quickly moving further. Now, why to use Azure? And first of all, Azure is a product from Microsoft where they are selling you these kind of components in the line. Now, here, this why to use Azure? The answer goes this way. They give you scalability where you can have millions of capacities. You can use the servers and host your applications, and they give you agility for hosting your workloads, and pricing it could be, costing it could be, or maintaining the workloads in the cloud environment, which is a remote server that could give you the performance or fault tolerance without failures, and all these are features why we can go for cloud environment like Azure. Of course, security, which is important concern, and I can reach out globally to different countries sitting from my home. Like an example, I have sent a lot of emails for all of you people right now, and those emails I didn't send them manually. They were automated emails which I sent by using some services in Azure for inviting you to this session. Now, types of cloud models, most of you know this, but in case if you don't, there are three varieties like public cloud, a private, and a hybrid cloud. Coming to that, a public cloud in the sense, Azure is a simple example where Azure has purchased the CPU core and RAM and he's keeping it in his environment. And now Azure is selling that for you and any other customer who wants to use it. So that's a public cloud. So the single view of a data center, which I showed you, this could be used by you, me, and any other customer, and it's logical isolation that happens in here. That's a public cloud. So AWS, Google Cloud Platform, all these are simple examples because these are like anybody can sign up with an account and use them. So what is a private cloud? Now your office, let's say banking sector, you're looking forward to have some servers, but that are going to be maintained only for you. So what do? You go to some public service cloud provider, you make them to become your customer, and you make them to maintain the servers on behalf of you, which when I say servers, those are your computers in which your application will run. So now that's a private cloud, so no other customer can use my servers. It's only for hosting my organization applications, which I give to my customers. So an example could be like data center in AWS, which is a term, and in Azure you have Azure Stack, or it could be third-party services as well who are selling public clouds. Hybrid cloud you have sometimes the same banking sector example. So they want to host their website in the Azure platform, but the DB they want to maintain in their office. So that's a simplified example for a hybrid cloud. Now, anyway, this is an instruction I'm giving, so people who don't know this, you can understand. And today, we are going to explore these. For people who don't know the concepts of Azure fundamentals, you can understand. There are varieties of services in cloud, something called infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So infrastructure, that is where they are giving you a physical infrastructure on which your virtual computers will be deployed like this, where physical network, physical power supply, physical storage, networking, Azure will take care of all these for you. So I focus on developing my application, hosting it, or connecting my application with security features and data of my application. That's your IaaS, or infrastructure as a service, which is a virtual machine. Now do note this, in your office, if you take this, everything is your responsibility. Whereas if you say platform as a service, which we are going to discuss today, which is called web apps. So Azure is saying that I will maintain a VM for you and I'll install everything for you. All you can do is just come to me, mention what is your application you want to host, and I'll do it. That's your pass. So software as a service is your Gmail, Outlook, or Office 365, which is like they are giving you software and you can just consume it based on license, which are offerings. So Azure is giving you all these. Now, why I'm speaking about this is the question that why should I do the certifications? So the reason I just discussed about these things is to make you understand, like most of you might have to decide like whether I want to go for a developer career or admin and architect. So just to make you clear, you have the domains available in Azure for everything. Now, why should I do the certifications? Let's understand. So this is a simple context for you to understand. Like today, if you see in the job market, people get confidence. So if you ask me that if you have knowledge in Azure, what do you say? Yes, I worked on it practically, or I know that theoretically. So that's just a word. But when I ask a proof of concept, all I can do is that I have to take a practical certification exam that will boost my confidence. On boosting your confidence, you can now go and take up your interviews, or you can now confidently implement your solutions in your organization. So currently, if you see, 60% of certifications that are being taken per year, like 16% are being increased. And again, 91% of the candidates, they have been feeling confident, like even when you're nothing about anything, like let's say I don't know cloud and I'm feeling that how to start my career or how do I go for the next level. Once you complete your certification, that's where you feel confident. Hey, yes, I can do this because I know this. So these are some things. So these are again information I have brought you from the Microsoft environment. Please refer to this. I'll be sharing you the slides with you later on. So if you check this, there is a video reference from Microsoft, like why you should take certification, that will give you the confidence. So refer to this so that later on you can plan them. So these are certifications in Azure. So you have Azure Development, Administration, Solution Architect, Data Engineer, AI Engineer, Data Scientist, or Security Engineer, or DevOps Engineer, and even a Functional Consultant for Dynamics. So why I'm putting this in here is because not all of you are going to have your career in admin. It could be an admin or an architect, DevOps. So just note this one. And these links will also be given to you. You can refer to them just to plan it. So I think in the chat panel, you will be receiving a link now that will make you to understand those. So refer to that link so that if you have a question like which is the right choice I can go for, it will give you some idea. Now, these are some certifications that Azure is offering you in a category of apps and infra and data and AI. So if you have to start your career and you don't know anything in cloud, I suggest you to start from Azure fundamentals, but it's not mandatory. You can go for an associate level certification directly, like an Azure security engineer, Azure developer, or an Azure admin. The name itself says what they will do for you. So completing this, if you want to go for an expert level, you can even directly jump in here. So we have Azure Solution Architect certification, which is 2 courses you need to do, AZ303 and 304. On completing it, you become a certified solution architect expert. And a DevOps engineer, of course. So I'm a person who's working on development and I want to go for next level, go for this, which is a choice. Same way, these are other details for you for people who want to play around the data and AI category in the cloud platform. I suggest you to touch base these. The links in the chat, you can please verify. Same way for SAP, NoSQL databases, or all these, you have these. Now, why should I typically do the certification? So this is a screenshot I took in the last night, just 12:21 midnight it is. So this is the answer I got just to make you people understand like why they should do the certifications. You can see these are some reasons why you can go for certifications. So there are plenty of jobs in case you want to move your career to next level or a new job you need, you search for it, you get it. So I'm not saying that just for marketing, but you can understand. And an admin salary, just a random search I made. This is what we got. But practically speaking, I'm making very good money as a admin. It could be a solution architect. It could be because I said, right, I'm running my own company and I'm into almost all the domains. So regardless, it's all about your confidence. Even if you do an administrative activity, you can mine a very good package and a very good money. It depends on all your capabilities. Now let's say what a cloud admin will do. That is, well, we are coming back to the Azure administrator role. So as a cloud admin, you are going to play with your networking, monitoring, storage, the computing capabilities in cloud, the complete life cycle of infrastructure in Azure and all these. So you will be feeling confident that as soon as you complete this certification, okay, this is how the cloud environment works. And as a cloud administrator, I will be now building my solutions for hosting them, provisioning their capacity, monitoring their performance, securing, and etc. So Microsoft is mentioning these prerequisites, which means practically there is no certification based prerequisite. Anybody can take Azure admin certification, but people who take it, you should be capable of understanding either in your college or in your practical work offices, you would have experienced this, the concepts like the virtual networking or virtual machines or VMs, in other words, or it could be hard disk, firewalls, TCP, IP, DNS, domain name, encryption, Active Directory, role-based access control, or disaster recovery, and etc. Again, I'm saying that this is not mandatory in my perspective, which means if you don't know any of these, you're zero with these knowledge, still you can start learning Azure. It's all about the instructor who will instruct you, and it's all about how easier you can understand the concepts. So trust me, if you are new to cloud, still you can please start doing this if you want to kickstart a career as an admin. And the course Azure Administrator, it's of these 11 modules that speaks about identity and access management in Azure, governance and compliance, how do you do administration in Azure, what is virtual networking, what is of the winter side connectivity like VPN gateway or express route circuit, what is the load balancing or traffic management services or application gateway could be, what is Azure storage, or what is a virtual machine and various concepts in it, a serverless computing, what that concept is, or data protection, that is backup and recovery and monitoring the server. This way, a very interesting course that Microsoft has designed. So you can try this one. So definitely you will love it, because for anyone who want to kickstart their career or who want to understand the concepts of administration and get certified, this is a right option, because this has around 30 to 40 labs. And normally when I do my training, which is for 4 days usually, but like I do the B2C batches to which I reach to people, in such cases I do it for 10 sessions, each of 4 hours. So you can consider like 11 modules, and each module with 2 demos, 3 demos, 4 demos. So practically you learn the concept, at the same time you theoretically understand them where you can implement that in your organization. So the course, when you take it, the first question is, will I get certified? Of course you will, by taking an exam. And the exam has a study area with the following weightages. So Azure AD Identities and Governance, Microsoft is giving you this following information, that when you take identity and governance category of exam part, like the topics, the 11 modules I discussed in here, these 11 modules, what Microsoft is saying is, in these, if suppose an exam 50 to 60 questions you get, 15 to 20% of them will be in this study area. This way, storage has this weightage, compute has this. So why I'm speaking about this is because when you take exam, we need to know which area we should focus more on, so that could give me more marks. Now let's not bore you. Let's go to the practical part, that is the main objective for you, for which you have joined to the session, the DNS routing in Azure using Traffic Manager. So here we go. The DNS routing architecture which we are going to build, not this part, I'm not going to build the DB, as this will be like a complete end-to-end solution which we cannot build within 1.5 hours. But let's say I'm going to discuss a concept. We're using a service like a traffic manager and a primary location and a disaster recovery location. How can I be able to implement a disaster recovery architecture? Let's say my e-commerce application which is running in one of the data centers of Microsoft. When I say the word data center, a physical location where Azure is maintaining their servers. Let's say this is East US. And another data center of Microsoft, which is another physical location, let's say West US. And in these places, Azure has deployed their servers. And now I'm trying to do my traffic routing, where I'm going to distribute my traffic between these two servers in a way such that it's always my primary location, that is East US. When a disaster happens, my recovery should take place where traffic manager with the same URL should route my traffic to the secondary location. That's what we are going to discuss. So just keep this count in your mind. So there is an architecture we will be building. So a couple of web apps for hosting websites, and a traffic manager, a DNS routing service for distributing your traffic. Now steps involved in this process. First thing, you should deploy an Azure App Service, and you should configure a traffic manager, which is for routing based on route algorithms. Then we should also do the DNS based routing using the traffic manager. So you're going to definitely love this, trust me. The first thing, for people who don't know what is this Azure App Service, now if I understand this perspective, so there comes a requirement for me to host an application or an API or a database backend or mobile application backend or an application. I might go for a VM, a computer, a physical computer or a virtual machine, now host my application here, and then I will make an access to this application. Now here I have to update the OS of this server. If you are using your Windows machine or Linux, you can understand. Normally we do OS updates as well, and those will restart your server. And most of the times it's a painful process. Now typically a complete server I will maintain, but when you go for this one, which is Azure App Service, what is Microsoft saying? Microsoft is saying that I will deploy a server for you, and in the server, I am going to install whatever the platform you need, .NET, Node.js, PHP, Java, Python. You tell me what you want. I will install it. I will give a ready-made server for you. So you start using this one to distribute your traffic and play around as the overall environment. So you can host applications which can be even Dockers and container solutions, which is a technology that will be a very super one in future. So why should I go for this Azure App Service, which is the server that is managed by Microsoft in which I can host a website like GoDaddy and BigRock? So you can use it in a simplified way. I can say I can bind a custom domain. I can attach an SSL certificate for security. I can scale out from one server to 100 servers on demand, which is possible. For a developer, if you see, it is suitable for integration where you can develop the code and quickly test it by hosting. All these are some of the advantages why we go for Azure App Service. Now, what do I do as an admin with this? As an admin, you don't need to do anything with an app service. All you do is implement the DevOps practices, or even that sometimes is done by DevOps team. You just host your application there. So this is how we create an Azure App Service, which I'll walk you through practical in a moment. But before that, in an organization, if you work, you understand that we have some practices called, the deployment practices, like taking your content from staging to production and production to staging, or it could be a concept of continuous integration and delivery. So if you know that, it's nothing but you write a web application. Now a developer will write the code, and code will be written by a developer to GitHub, let's say, which is a source control system. Code gets automatically built with various phases of testing and quality assurance, and it gets released to this web app service where your website runs, and everything gets automated here. Now, this could be achieved with a web app service, which I will show you. Same way, you can also do something called staging, which is a software development lifecycle. Let's say in your office, you can note it, or in your simple example like Flipkart, you use Flipkart, and every day Flipkart come with new updates, and you have never faced downtime. That is because of this kind of technique. So what they do, they have your code in a staging, and they have a production server that is given to you. Latest code that they bring, they do an operation called blue-green deployment for it, which is like developer will write the code, it comes to the staging server, and when this is time to take it to production, they do an operation called swapping, which takes code from here to here with zero downtime. So why I'm speaking about this, you can achieve this with a web app. Same way, when if something goes wrong, I can roll this back, which is also possible. Now, another one, it's called App Service Plan. Why I'm speaking about this? Now, web app is a virtual machine, I said. The question is, how many CPU cores and RAM will my virtual machine come with? That's what App Service Plan will decide. So it's a billing unit. Like in your mobile phone, you have a SIM card, but you cannot use the internet or mobile phone calls without recharging to the SIM card. Same goes for App Service Plan. So you define a plan where plan will mention that how many number of CPU cores and RAM you're going to receive. So this will decide it, so that using a plan, I can now maintain one server or multiple servers that will run on the plan, and the features I'm going to get, all these will be decided by this. Now this is an example, one single plan you create. So one web application is an e-commerce application, another web server, which is a VM. All these are VMs actually. You can imagine this is running with some API. This is running with some AI solution, no problem. They can use one common plan. Since there are 3 web apps and each of them is nothing but a server, then if one web app is costing you $1,000, then you have to pay for this one that is typically like $3,000. That's a simple example. Now, the another one in our architecture, apart from the web app, which is our website, I said, we had a traffic manager here. So that's what I'm explaining next. So guys, I hope all of you are capable of following me. In case you don't understand something or you cannot follow me, all you can do is write your messages in the chat, or maybe later on we'll have a one-on-one discussion. I will come to you people about discussions. For now, I will just walk you through the content, and then we'll play around the practical demos. Now I'm explaining about the next one, the traffic manager, the DNS routing service, which I had in my architecture. If you see this one, which is responsible for receiving your traffic and distributing your traffic to different locations. So the Azure Traffic Manager it is. So what is a traffic manager? It's a DNS resolved service by Microsoft. And what it is doing for me, it is going to receive my traffic, and this service, it's going to take my traffic to a service named Traffic Manager, which is managed by Microsoft. Now this Traffic Manager, what exactly it is doing, it is having some algorithms configured in it. Those algorithms will define what the Traffic Manager can do for you. These algorithms will decide which is set by you, so that a user who made a request to Traffic Manager, his request will be routed to one or different endpoints which you have. And with this, you can achieve various business continuity and disaster recovery concepts, which could be like routing the user traffic to the less latent location, or routing the user traffic to a website that is only for that country, and etc. So there are 6 different routing algorithms a traffic manager follow. In that, 4 of them are what we mostly use, and these are the pictures. Imagine an example. This is my Facebook application, which is running in, let's say, globally available for the customer in US it is. And this is my failover B. In the event of US location crashes, they're having the Facebook application hosted in Asia, let's say. And another one, they have this failover B, which is next priority number, and they have hosted this one, let's say, in Africa. So every endpoint you give a priority number that defines that who can make a request and how can they access. Now for your information, in Traffic Manager, we will define those routing algorithms, so that now when I mention the priority based routing algorithm, for each endpoint I'll give a priority number. So it will track the priority and the health of it. Suppose if the priority one is not working, it will now route the user traffic to next priority. So Facebook, you make a request and its primary location is crash, then it will route your traffic to secondary location. So as an end user, I have never faced failure because I'm not going to. Same way, this one, it will continue to check the health of all the endpoints. When this comes online, it will start distributing back traffic to the primary endpoint. That is your priority based routing algorithm. The priority number matters. Second routing algorithm, that is performance based routing algorithm, which means you can see the latency number matters in here. You make a request to your application from US, and let's say my Facebook application is hosted in US, which is West US, North Europe, and Asia. Now I make a request to Traffic Manager to access it. Now when I do this, my traffic is getting distributed between the endpoints, and here my problem is, let's say US is crashed now. No problem. Still the other 2 healthy instances you have, in that it will check which is the nearby endpoint, which means the one that can respond to me with less latency. How many milliseconds of time I will take to get a response from that endpoint is this. So the one which is with less latency, that's where you get routed with. So this way a traffic manager can route you to your nearby endpoint with very less time. That's performance based routing algorithm. So we can guarantee that globally available applications, and those can be distributed and customers can be routed to their nearby location where the application is hosted to reduce the latency. Now traffic manager with geographical routing algorithm, an example is Amazon shopping application. Amazon is a global service. That is Amazon shopping I'm speaking about. I can access it from US, India, and everywhere. Now, when I hit Amazon.com from India, I show them Indian website. For the people who hit Amazon.com from US, I show US website. The URL is same, website will differ. That's where you can use something called Traffic Manager with a geographical routing algorithm. So you can see you're providing these informations, like this first website should be routed for people who make a request to my Traffic Manager from Germany. So I want to route my traffic to second website. If my people are routing their traffic, or their traffic is coming from, let's say, from Mexico or Asia, then they should be routed to another traffic manager, let's say. So nesting of traffic managers you can do, like one traffic manager routing the traffic to other. Now from here, my traffic again, it can go to another endpoint, which is also possible. Now again, it could be like a different algorithm, a priority based routing algorithm we are using. So nesting can give you now the benefit of having multiple routing algorithms in a place. And the other one you can see, that is the third one, endpoint 2, It's mentioning that rest of the people from the world, except from Mexico and Asia, they make a request, let them be routed to this one. So this you can achieve with the geographical routing algorithm. So based on user location, you can distribute their traffic to different servers. Last one, the weight-based routing algorithm. So it's all about weight. So the more the weight an endpoint is given, more the traffic will be routed there. Say for example, this is my web app, and this is the one which I have all these three. Now the question could be, like, I want to route 50% of my traffic to this server and 50% to this one. That's where weight will be useful. So the more the weight you have, the more the traffic will be distributed. So with the help of a weight-based routing algorithm, suppose I mentioned like this and this crash. Now I have test A and the region B. Test A has a weightage of 5%, but region B has a weightage of 50. That's where you can distribute your traffic between these two accordingly. So here it's all about the performance, and the lesser the load, the traffic will be distributed between each endpoints. Suppose I get 100 requests now, 90 will go here and few will go here. And I can see a question like, Ahmad Arif, can we set priority for weighted? Now I can give an use case for that. So you cannot set priority for weighted, but what you can do is a combination of priority based routing algorithm with the combination of weight based routing algorithm like nesting traffic managers. You can do that, but no need to give a priority. Rather you give weight. The more weight you give, that will become highest priority. So when load is too much, which is not balancing between each of these, that's where it will go to the first priority. So I don't think you need a priority based routing when there is a weight based routing utilized, but when you need necessarily nesting of traffic managers, you can do. Cool. So I'm going to show you a demo now, which will give you some eyes on openers of this, a demo on disaster recovery for an Azure web app using Traffic Manager. So please do note this one. The demo we are going to try now, you can just see, or if you want to try this parallelly, I suggest you to do it, but it's all about learning. So we can even just see later on, you can try this. But for doing this, you need an Azure subscription. So that's what I said. Regarding this, I'll share you some information in the last, but yeah, to get an Azure subscription, like for your mobile phone, to use the mobile services in it, SIM card is necessary with a proper plan. Same way in Azure platform, to use Azure servers, because they are giving their physical server with their own internet, power supply, and etc. You need your own subscription that you subscribe to Azure. So to get an Azure subscription, you can go for something which is Azure free trial. So yes, you can search for Azure free trial, and this is where any of you can go and get a free account from Microsoft. If you're a college student, using your college email, you can verify your identity, and you can even purchase a Azure account for 1 whole year. So just check that out. So the details for the free trial account I'm sharing now. Just a minute. So you can check the chat. I gave you the link. You can please verify and activate one. Later in the session, I'll share you some info, possibly with in case you're very enthusiastic and learning on this. A possibility where I can also provide you some Azure passes, I'll mention, but please stay until the end of the session for that. Is it for 1 year or 1 month? So 1 year, but 1 month you will be getting a credit of $200. After 1 month, you will not be having the credits, but you can use the free services that are offered by Azure. There are some free services that they give you, which you can use. So do try to activate this. Meanwhile, we'll start with the architecture now. So I'm starting with this website, portal.azure.com. So note this one, portal.azure.com is the Azure platform for you. So after you people activate your free trial account, all you need to do is you should give Microsoft the component. And what is that component? That is going to be your credit card in some cases. Some case it's going to be free, it depends on country. All you do, and now you log into Azure portal with that account which you activated with your same email ID in which you activated it. So this is an Azure console. So you have many options in it, and because we have less amount of time, I don't want to explain everything in depth, but just mentioning. So this is a bell icon where you get notifications about your subscription, on how much money it has, followed by that the complete information like who is the user of this organization and etc. There are various features in it which I cannot explain within this time, but trust me, there are very good number of features that Azure gives you. Let's quickly go the demo part. So the architecture I presented you for the disaster recovery goes like this. Getting back you there. So we need a couple of app services, I said. Let's deploy two of them very quickly right now. First thing is I'm going to create a web app. To create a web app in the Azure platform, you can see there is a create a resource menu. From here, you can create any resource, or from here, you can go to the menu and create a resource. Well, before I start, can I get responses from everyone? Are you guys able to follow me and the concept that I delivered now? Cool. Thank you. You can call me Kishore. No need to have a sir in the next part. It's Kishore. That is sufficiently fine. Thank you. Now, we are going to create a web app. Then we'll understand the pros and cons. So to create a web app, I go to create a resource. And now you can see in the category you have in the left side, web app is a part of web category, but for now I will not confuse you because there are various things like thousands of services you have in Azure which will confuse you. So what I will do in menu here, I go to create a resource and I go for this third option in the right side named web app, using which you can deploy a web server in Azure where Microsoft will maintain it for you. So now my subscription, you can see this is the one, and resource group we have, this is the one. So first of all, subscription, what is this? This is nothing but, like I said, a SIM card in your mobile phone. So you make a phone call, you select SIM 1 or SIM 2, that will decide which SIM is going to be billing for you. Same goes for subscription. Now you decide whether you want to use the particular subscription 1 or subscription 2 as a choice. Now say for example, I select subscription, which is this one, then my billing, so for whatever I'm going to create will go from here. Now resource group, I will create a new, now what is a resource group? It's like a folder. So in Azure, there are many components you create. So logically maintaining that becomes complex. So Microsoft comes with a terminology called resource manager, a concept where you can create folders and put your content inside. That's a resource group. So we can click on create new. So guys, when you do this, follow the same steps. You will be given the recording, so don't worry. For now, understand it. Later you try it. In case you cannot get an Azure subscription because I don't have a credit card or already activated a pass or activated a free trial, no problem. I will give you Azure passes. For now, focus on this. So we can create a resource group. So here, let me name it. Let's say disaster underscore recovery underscore RG. Just a name. This is just for me to understand. Practically, there are reasons for naming it, which you can understand when you go to next level of your learnings. So this is a folder now. So name we have to give. I will say Kishore primary. So you can imagine this is my primary location. So DNS will be kishoreprimary.azurewebsites.net is the definition that defines that you will be having a DNS which will be used like this, through which I can distribute my traffic. Which means if I hit to the DNS, I will reach to this web app in which my application will be running. Now publish method, if you're a developer or someone who is working in organization, you know this. We can develop applications in two formats. One is by writing program, which is code, and the other one is by writing a Docker container solution. So Docker and containers, you go, a container application you can host in it, and web app will completely manage the container. So no overhead of maintaining my container is an advantage. But you go for code, in this case, developer will write the code and give me, but in both the cases as an admin, I don't need to do anything. It's all about hosting. Now we shall go for code because I have a piece of code right now for showing you a demo. Now runtime stack, technically this defines the technology. So whether your user who is going to, okay, so Arif is asking to explain me about Docker and container. Very quickly in a short span, I'll put a picture for you. So I can't spare much time on that. As you know, we have less time, but a small picture I'll put for you. So for people who don't know this, try to grasp it. Container is a simple concept. So you normally take a server and host your application on top of it. That's a normal procedure. Now Dockers and containers is a technical perspective where developer will write an application, but not as a program, but he will write it as a container, which is a methodology of building an application from a container image, which you can find in Docker Hub, which is a repo for images. So developer will develop that and he will publish those images into a storage service called repository. So payment gateway, and let's say these things he have developed. And now what happens, this image, which is going to be like not a complete solution, but it's a very lightweight component, it will be now hosted in a environment where in a computer a technology called Docker is installed. Now, why I should go for container and what makes the difference in here? See, now I can host two applications in same OS, and I can control each application on how much RAM and CPU core they can consume. Whereas if you normally host an application 1 and 2 in same server, you cannot control like which one should consume how much CPU core and RAM. That makes a container in short span. But there is a big thing which I cannot explain right now because of the time. But can I get confirmation, Arif? Do you get that now? I have Mac operating system. There is no option. Would it please mention in detail which one you're speaking about so that I can help you? My team will respond to you in the chat. Meanwhile, getting back in here. So I'm going for code as I have a piece of program in GitHub which I'm going to take. So I'll go for code and runtime stack. I'm mentioning to Azure that see my solution which I'm hosting, which is in GitHub. This is the one. I'm saying that this solution, it's based on a technology, and that's nothing but my solution is on .NET Core of 3.1. So I'm saying Azure to select that runtime stack as .NET Core 3.1. So .NET Core 3.1 is the thing I'm getting now, which is Microsoft is installing this feature for me in my server. Now I say Linux, then a Linux machine with .NET Core or a Windows machine with .NET Core, they will install and give it to me. So no management overhead for me, which is an advantage. So we will go for Windows because my code is based on Windows platform, which is a repo in which I wrote a piece of small website, which is already there. I just took that. Now, region, I'm going to select this one as East US, as I mentioned. So you can now consider in Microsoft Azure, in the East US, there is a web server I'm deploying that will be hosting an application on .NET Core with Windows platform. Now, app service plan, you remember I discussed it in the slide, the one which defines the pricing. So if you click change size, you can see we have three categories: development, testing, pricing, then production pricing, and isolated pricing. So now development and testing, if you go for, they give you some free web app pricing, some paid one, though both types you have. And moreover, in this one, there is a perspective where if you go for these, you get like 1 GB RAM or you get 1.75 GB, 7 GB, and configuration like binding an SSL certificate, auto scaling, and a lot of concepts. Of course, these are very useful. Because of shortage of time, I'm not spending much time on it, but trust me, when you learn this in detail, these will help you to understand like how can I plan a very high availability and DR. Now here storage, you can see 10 GB and all these you get. So in that you can host your application. So this is a plan, again I'm mentioning. So this plan will be used by your VM which you're creating here to host your application. So production pricing tiers you have, which comes with different CPU cores and RAMs. Now normally as an admin, will I be choosing these pricing tiers and I'll be saying that this is the right option for hosting application of e-commerce, like let's say Flipkart? No. Your architecting team gives you a complete architecture with reports. Now you take them and you put them into the right sizing. But as an admin, if I can know that how these works and why these works, it's always good. So in my trainings, I actually make it happen. So I explain an administrator in an architecture perspective as well, like why should I go for these kind of sizes and reasons in here. So normally for a production workload, it's good to start from standard, and then for various regions and performance, we will go for premium version 2 and 3. Same way for some compliant solutions that need virtual networking and they want to scale up to 100 virtual machines automatically, not manually. So one server today I will have and tomorrow I want to scale to 100. Auto scaling you can achieve, and that's something which is possible with this isolated network. So these are like features. Anyway, we'll experiment this with the standard S1 pricing tier, which is a default, which gives me 1.75 GB RAM and 100 ACUs, which is 100 Azure compute units. Now what is that? It's equivalent to one CPU core you can consider, which will normally handle good and decent amount of users. Now I click next. So we will now directly host an application into this web app. For this deployment center we can use. It's a preview feature, which means it's still not completely available, but you can enable. So I'm going to connect to my GitHub environment. So I'm sharing a link in the chat. So if you check this one, this is typically an option where a piece of code I gave. So anybody can try this if you want to. So you can take this and I'll just put this code directly into my web app so I can see the output in here. Now you can see it's connecting to my GitHub account. So normally you can go to this code I have and you can click this fork button if you have GitHub, and it will fork your code. So first of all, you should sign up for GitHub, and then you can fork your code by clicking it. So it will come in your repository, which means in your account the code will come. So here you can authenticate. You can authenticate to GitHub in here. Then you can take that code, say my organization, which is this one, and website, that's my solution name, my website. So repository, if I go for, so I have something called my website, I select that and branch as master. So master is the branch where this code is available. Now I'm going to directly publish this code into my website is the meaning of it. And remember, I mentioned that my solution is on .NET Core, and this solution is also on .NET Core, so it will work. So we'll click next. So here you are all ready. Now you click next button. So monitoring is normally a feedback for a developer. A feature named Azure Application Insights is the one. What it will do, it will collect the feedback, which means application performance, CPU consumption, RAM, page load time, and etc. So using this one, you can get that feedback information and give it to a developer. Currently, it's not necessary. So I'll go for no. We'll just learn this point. So, but this is useful when a developer wants to know application performance in the server. Now, if you go to next, the tags menu. So tagging is an option where you can write some tag. Let's say created by. I will mention a value kishore. Now, purpose of this one, let's say purpose and dr I'll mention. So this means it will help me to see the tag and understand, okay, this was created for so and so reason. When you have thousands of resources, tags will help you to easily identify and differentiate them. Same way, your tagging, it will also help you for one more reason, like billing purpose. If my auditing team wants to know like which service has costed them much, this will simplify the problem. Now anyway, I will click on next to validate the settings I made. So here we go. The total web app is ready, and this is the complete part. That's fine. I click on create. So this creates my web app. It will complete the procedure. Now, meanwhile, for you to know, this piece of source code I have, it has a, let's say, a views file in it, and you have something called home. In this, you have a file named index.cshtml. It will say welcome to development slot, it says. So I will just edit this so you people can refer to video when you see this. In the path, I will edit this file. And now in this place, line number 6, welcome to development slot, I will make it as this is my primary website. I will mention so that I can see this and I can understand, okay, this is a primary website. So this code, I'm making a change now. And every time my developer makes a change and commits it, it will be automatically released into this web app which you have now. You will see this. So what I have did now, I made a change while this deployment of the web app is going on. I made a slight change in here. I go down, there is a button commit changes, so I'm changing it. Now imagine like this, my developer is writing the code to GitHub and he is modifying it like this. Now this repo is the one we selected in this place. So my web app, when it got deployed, if you just click on go to resource, you can see you go to the web app. In the bell icon, it showed you the status like deployment is successful. Or see, there is a menu in the top left corner. If you go to this, resource groups you go, you can find out a resource group named Disaster Recovery RG, which you created right now. See, your app service you have, that's your web app. And this is the plan. I said, right, SIM card in your mobile phone. This is the example. So this is the one, which is my web server in which my website will be hosted. So this web app, you can see it comes with various reasons. So if I click on browse, I can find out, see, this is a basic primary website I'm seeing. This is a default website that Microsoft comes up with. That's common thing. But since I already connected with this source code, you see in the web app, in the left side, you have a feature called Deployment Center. And in the Deployment Center, you can find it out. This is connected with my organization, the Git organization. And if I see the logs in here, it shows me. So it's taking, like, by this time, it's made some changes and all these it figured out. So expectationally, if I refresh now, I should see a website. See, you get a little downtime. This is because I said in the slides I was mentioning a term called staging slot. So that's why we use it to avoid that little downtime which we had now. So those are some DevOps practices. Now see, this is my primary website, which is a website I hosted from GitHub. So in the architecture I presented, the primary site is ready. Now the secondary site we have to deploy. I will repeat the same once more, but let's say this is the primary site which I have. I'll go to overview. The primary site is in US. I will redeploy this another one with the same pattern. Probably I'll deploy it, let's say in Southeast Asia, my disaster recovery location. Do you guys understand until this? Can I get responses? So with that, I have MacBook. How can I use Linux on it? Okay, my team has given you a link. Meanwhile, once I complete this, I'll discuss with you about that with it. Okay, now Lal Bahadur, yes, definitely this is platform as a service because Azure is maintaining this platform and he is just asking us to deploy. Do you explain server deployment on Azure AD and AD configuration? Definitely, yes. In AZ104, the first module itself is that one, which will be in-depth discussion about it, the Azure AD and etc. for one whole day, almost 8 hours. Cool. How about others? Can I get responses from everybody? I can see a few of the responses. Are you all able to understand? If no, help me with mentioning it so I can help you in making you to understand these. Thank you. Now I'll repeat the same another deployment now. The second data center deployment I'm going to do for you. This one. Now note this. Same process in the menu, create a resource, but this time I'm going to go for Southeast Asia. So web app I'm selecting. Same subscription and resource group in the drop down, I go for disaster recovery RG. What do I need to do next? So Kishore disaster, I'll mention recovery. So Kishore disaster recovery .azure websites.net will be domain name. Once more technical stack in the place of code, I will typically click the drop down and I'll mention the option in here as .NET Core. Once more, I'm going to repeat it. And my data center, I'm changing it into, let's say, Southeast Asia as my disaster recovery location. Southeast Asia. Finally, all the details are ready. Now I go to deployment page. Now please note it, deployment which is available in here, deployment setting. So I will mention, let's say I'll enable. Once more, I'll select the same web app in the drop down, the same repo which I have now. I will select it. So here we will do something that is the same my website I'm selecting in here, my website. Finally, I click monitoring, nothing to do in here. So I'll just say no for monitoring. And now the tags, I'm not giving anything. I'll go for review plus create, which makes a final validation. And I click on create, which creates my web app. So please note it, the DR site is also getting created with its own server, and it's connecting to the same source code. Now you can understand both are running the same application. So one of the easiest ways to access both of these web apps could be in this top, if you go to menu, and if you go to this service named App Services, once this deployment in here becomes successful, you can find both of these. We'll get them. We'll get them. Meanwhile, you can see the other details. The other details could be that now I have a primary location and DR. Now it's time to deploy my traffic manager, which will do the DNS routing. So here you can note it. This deployment of secondary location is still going on. We can do another deployment parallelly, no problem. I'm just trying to show you the possible options. Can we replicate all sections automatically? The answer is yes, but no. To make it simple, It depends on the technology. Not every technology will support for doing that. So web app doesn't have disaster recovery. So manual deployment I should do. That's a simple example. See, now I browse this. I get this kishore disaster recovery.azurewebsites.net with the following. Now please note it. So in the menu, if I go to this Azure, this option app services, I have these couple of app services. Now I'm going to distribute my traffic between this East US and Southeast Asia. Now note this clearly, the last deployment and the simplest one we need to do is traffic manager. So I go to the menu, create a resource I'm selecting, and here in the search box, I'm searching for the traffic manager, which I want to deploy. See, we have traffic manager profile. You select this and you deploy it. Now you click on this traffic manager profile option here, the create button, which creates this for you. Now you give it a name. Say for example, I name it Kishore Traffic. So the DNS will be kishoretraffic.trafficmanager.net. Later we can map a custom domain for them, but this is default. The routing methods you have, apart from the 4 methods I discussed, 2 more methods you have, those are not used much. One is multi-value routing, which means if you have multiple endpoints, each with IPv4 and IPv6, when user makes a request to a traffic manager, it will route the user traffic to the endpoint which is healthy. It's like a healthy checkup, and whichever this endpoint is healthy, to that one it will route the user traffic. That's multi-value routing algorithm. Last one is subnet based routing algorithm. So it's based on IP addresses. So if your request comes from 10.1.1.0 to 10.1.1.255, then I wish to distribute the user traffic to a particular website. If the request comes from public internet, I'll distribute your traffic to a different website. In case if your request comes from office internet, I will distribute your traffic to office application, which is only for office people. That's what you do from subnet. So currently I'm going for priority based routing algorithm. That's for disaster recovery scenarios. Now, so the subscription, same subscription I'm picking, and resource group, disaster recovery RG I'm going with, so I can understand that this will be a DR. Finally, a traffic manager, you can please note it, it doesn't have any possibility of this one. When I say the possibility, that's simple. A traffic manager, it doesn't have a data center region, it's only the resource group location. A traffic manager is global service. Now you click on create button, and that's it. You are deploying a traffic manager. Now it's all about attaching the endpoints and testing them. So you can just give me 5 minutes and that will be over. So meanwhile, any questions from anyone? So can you explain about GitHub? Lal Bahadur Yadav, I'll explain that maybe once after I complete this. Definitely I'll discuss that. Excuse me. I'm getting error. Configuring deployment with GitHub Actions is not currently supported for your. Okay, no problem. I know the problem behind it. I'll help you. Later on, I'll help you. Now see this in the bell icon, the deployment, it says it's successful. And I see my traffic manager, or the other way to access it, 3 lines, which is burger menu, resource groups, and you can see disaster recovery RG. If you go to this, you can find out your traffic manager profile that you created. So let's go to this. Now I want to hit this DNS and I want my traffic to get routed. So let's make it simple. In the left side, there is settings. I'll go to configuration. So normally the time to live, the health checkup, how many minutes once the traffic manager should do TTL, all these you can set from here. Even routing algorithms you can change from here. Let's say in the place of this one, for example, endpoint monitoring settings. So here you can note it, the last one, like probing. So how many seconds once the traffic manager should check the health of my endpoint to mark it as unhealthy or failure. So I'll say it's at 10 seconds, and tolerated failure I'll say 2. So 2 times if there is no response, which means for 20 seconds if there is no response, it will mark the endpoint as failure. Or I say 1 time, then for 10 seconds once it will make a request to my endpoint, and if my endpoint is not responding once, then it will mark that as failure. So this will initiate a disaster. I'll change it like this. Now probe timeout, it's like how many minutes after my request timeout will happen. So it should be less than or equal to this probing interval. So I'll keep it 9 seconds, so it will be fine. So that will time out my request if it is not responding. So this I'll save the setting. So my traffic manager will save the following. Oh, I can see most of the people are requesting and registering for the webinar even after I've started it. Anyway, now, so this is done. Finally, I'm going to do this thing, the endpoints I'm going to add to test my traffic manager and it's working. So please note it. I will click the add button to add endpoint. So Azure endpoint, which is any Azure service you can select. External endpoint could be any fully qualified public IP address. That's an external endpoint which you can give. And nested endpoint is another traffic manager you can select and route your traffic there like this. So I'm going for Azure endpoint. Let's say I'm mentioning like, let's say primary. So target could be cloud service, which is older version of Azure web apps. That's Azure's first version of web app, which is not used by us now. App service is your web app, which we created. These are staging slot. You can even route the traffic to a staging slot of it. And public IP address would be any fully qualified DNS if you have in your Azure platform, you can select. So I will go for app service. And in the drop down, let's select the primary app service and I give priority number 1. And custom headers define any headers you want to provide. I'll not give any headers for the request. So add as disable if you enable this. It will keep that location as disabled, will not do that. So I click add with this setting. So my primary endpoint is getting added. So you can see this is the primary endpoint and this is the secondary, and both of them are having same website because they are routed to same source code. I will modify it later. Meanwhile, what we'll do, the next thing I'm going to do, that is going to be like this. So what is that? I'm going to add one more endpoint, again an Azure endpoint. Let's say disaster, I'll mention, and target again Azure App Service, and target resource as Kishore disaster recovery with priority number 2, and I add it. So 2 endpoints, one with priority 1, another one priority 2, and traffic goes there. Now, to make this little simplified, to make you understand, in the overview you can see traffic manager is showing, and here I can see that status as enabled and it's checking the endpoints. So I'll copy this DNS in a new tab. I'm pasting this and I browse it. So this is something you are getting because traffic manager is not making a HTTPS request. Let's say I'll make it as HTTPS. It is made it. Maybe traffic manager is not having HTTPS certificate. That's why. So in the advanced, I'll go to this, proceed to this traffic manager site. So this is my primary site. It shows me. So SSL is because I didn't bind SSL for traffic manager, but my web app has a SSL configured in it. That's why the conflict. Anyway, not an issue. So I went into my primary website and you don't know which is routing for you. To remove your confusion, I'll do a small activity. Now note it, primary is showing the same website and the disaster service is also showing the same website. So I'll do a small change. So in my Azure portal, in the menu, I'll go to app services. So the primary location I get into the primary web app. To show you the difference, in this deployment center menu here, I will remove the integration with this GitHub. So primary website will look the same even if I make a change to the source code there. So here there is a disconnect button. I click this and I'll just say okay. So I'm disconnecting the connection. So whenever I make any change to the source code in GitHub now, this will not make any change to my code that is going to appear in the primary. It could be, or that's because in primary I'm not connecting anymore. So it will show the default website. It will not update. So primary is the default one. Now to show you the output, in this GitHub again, this index.cs file, which I modified earlier, I'll again edit it. One last change, a simple change. I will say this is disaster recovery site. So this is disaster recovery website. Now note this clearly. I made a change and I go down and I commit the changes. So whatever the change you made now, it's not going to do any reflection in primary because we disconnected the primary web app with GitHub. So that's continuous integrations and delivery. Whenever you change a code in here, it automatically gets delivered in here when you connected it. But we disconnected. So primary website, which is this one, it's not going to update any new code for us, which I modified. It still remains the same. Meanwhile, here, the disaster recovery site, it will get updated because you know that the disaster recovery site, it is still in connection with the Git, which is source control. See, now what happens? Here we go. In the event of making a refresh, the disaster recovery website, it will get updated in some time with a new code for us. Let me show it in an incognito window in case it's not showing up. Still it's showing up as primary. So let's wait for a moment. Let's see the logs again. So running the deployment, we should wait. So it's completing. Once it is completed, you will get it. So we should get the status as completed. So we should wait for a moment, and now you will find a small differentiation here. So my DR website, which is this one, it will show a different website. So the reason I'm showing that is to make you understand the disaster recovery. It's a very simple thing. So it's success now. So in the disaster recovery website, if I make a refresh, see this is a disaster recovery website, and it says this is primary website. Now let me do a simple activity. That is the primary website. I'm going to stop it now to show you the output of traffic manager. So I go to overview page of primary website, the overview page of this, and there is a stop button in here. I click the stop button and I say yes. Now note it, my website has stopped successfully. Now if you make a request for the primary website, please note this. This is primary. In some time this will go down, service unavailable. 503 error. Now traffic manager is designed to distribute your traffic with disaster recovery mechanism. Let me try hitting my traffic manager with a HTTP connection. So it takes few minutes. Now you see this is disaster recovery website. It's not routing my traffic to primary. So previously traffic manager routed me here. Still I make a request. It routes my traffic to DR location. Now I bring my primary back. I start it. So when you start it, it becomes online. So now when you try to check the primary URL, the primary website URL, which was 503, it will take some time and it will start functioning for you. You can get response. So this is primary is working. The traffic manager, let's try in 10 seconds from now. As you know, it takes 10 seconds for finding out the healthy instance. Traffic manager, it will distribute my traffic back to healthy server. So still it's pointing to DR, but it's now online. The primary is now online. So just few seconds, it will come back and you can see user will be distributed to the primary location. Let's give some time for traffic manager to understand that as it needs TTL. Meanwhile, is that clear with everyone? Any questions? Can I get responses? Any questions from anyone? Now, how do you rate my session? And you can see now this is primary. This is the primary site. You can see it's same traffic manager. So well, this is how I do my trainings. So I hope you liked it. You can give me your ratings if you wish to. So how do you rate it? What's your thought process about the discussion I had now? Cool. That's nice to hear. Well, the reason I asked you, because I'm going to launch a certification program, and that's going to be by next week. So here I'm sharing the details. If you are interested, you can just let me know. So this is the first time I'm launching a certification program directly to the market, because all these days I've been delivering the corporate trainings to the corporates directly, and I've never reached to individual learners who are interested in. And then, because of some bad experiences, like people sell courses for very costlier options and they give very limited features, and all these, it made me to do this, where it provoked me to start a learning platform with cheapest pricing tier. So that's my objective. Typically, as I said, I'm a full-time corporate trainer. I'm making a very good money, so I'm not doing that for in this case. It is that I wanted to give a learning platform where people can learn things for cheapest pricing in here. So coming to this here, I'm going to now launch a program. This is my first program I'm launching. And for your information, Cloud Beaver, that's my company. It's typically I established like in the year 2019 in the month of October. And now it took me 2 years to study the market to understand like how can I offer training programs for people at cheapest pricing tier. So very cheap pricing, I wanted to do that. And it took me time because we cannot give quality at the same time, we cannot give like cost in cheaper way. I took time, like almost 2 years to balance that. And that's where in 2021, I came with a solution. Now, for your information, you'll understand this. So coming to this, I'm launching a certification program on this Azure admin, an end-to-end program with all 11 modules, which will be a 40-hour session. And I'm going to do that by next month. I mean, that's typically on the following dates. 5th of June, it starts, which is on next Saturday and Sunday. I'm beginning that from. And it's going to be from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So you can reach out to me. I'll show you the details. But before that, what do I get in the course is very important question, because there are plenty of people in the market selling courses. Now let me tell you what makes me unique. First thing, live training, of course, many people give it, but I can say that the benchmark I set now, I will give the same benchmark in the training session. That's the first thing. And all modules with practical demos and all of them. And an Azure Pass, definitely this one, no training service providers mostly give this. People give it, but they charge additionally for you on this Azure Pass. I'm offering a free Azure Pass on my training. And a step-by-step hands-on lab for each and every demo I do, apart from video recordings, a practical documentation I give you. And all my live sessions will be recorded, which you can access for 1 whole year completely. Not only that, the main thing, unlimited retakes I'm giving. So you are entitled to take unlimited retakes of my course again and again and again and again. For 1 whole year, you can take it. And not only that, I'm giving you practice test. Again, no special charges for that. You can get my practice test. That is, we are preparing practice exams so that people who take this certification training from us, they can also practice for exam. And mainly this one, official book. Nobody gives you this one, but I'm giving it. Official book of Microsoft, which you can take it, which is a licensed one for AZ-104, the complete theoretical book I give you. Same way, I'm also giving you 1 year technical support, which is not that I'm helping you to build your solutions in Office, but when you get a problem and when you want the consulting advice to make you understand to solve the problem, I'm there for you all the time to make it happen. And of course, if you don't take the course with me, still I help people. As I said, this is not about money. This is about a passion where I don't wanted to make it a business where people sell the courses for costlier trainings. Same way, where can I learn? That's a very big question. So unfortunately, my team who are building the LMS, they got COVID and my LMS is stuck up in between and plans were changed. The plan was to launch the LMS today, but unfortunately the COVID just made the destiny fate different. So anyways, I prepared a temporary LMS for us, but again, a complete LMS is being built. Probably by next week, it will be live. And you can see this is where you will be learning. So I like some people who just make you to take sessions. I mean, watch the sessions and then raise a support ticket to their team and then solve the problem. Or it could be like WhatsApp group support. Not so. I'm creating an official Microsoft team channel that is coming up with the following components, which includes a complete LMS here. So we people normally get doubts. So all the learners who are attending a batch, they can post their doubts and discuss from here. Same way, all the 11 modules of AZ-104, it has practical labs, it has slides and all these. So documentations and slides and everything, I have just provided under files option here. So you can get access to all these material once you become my learner. Same way, assignments you have. So I'm giving like, it's a matter of pride for me to understand the quality of my students. So once you take my training, I want you to build a solution that's a complete complex use case we people built, and you will be given with this use case where you can build a solution for this. So that's something you will do once after you complete a certification training with me. Whenever you can do this with the confidence, you complete and give it the completed solution to me with the screenshots which you did, that could help me to provide you a certificate that you have completed the certification with Microsoft Partner Network, which is my company, on AZ-104. Again, the main thing, the recordings of the session, 1 whole year, as I said, you get an access. And again, those recordings, you can watch it here itself with the Microsoft streams. So you can come here, the complete session recording gets streamed out in here. So you can go anytime, you can stream the videos as you desire. So complete session access you get. And guess what? We will provide you a separate account from my organization with Azure passes entangled with them and all these. Moreover, you can also find out these practice tests, which I said the practice test is here. So my team, they are rigorously working for the last 3 months to build some good questions. And here we go, practice tests for different use cases we have built. And again, unfortunately, since the LMS is not yet ready because of the COVID, we are entangled with putting it in here. But yet this is also giving me a very good outcome where you can take tests directly from this place and you can understand what is the right and wrong answer. And you can directly come back here, discuss with me with the screenshots, and I will be happy to help you. And of course, other learners will be there. So these are some offerings I'm providing, and mainly the one another important consideration, why should you take the course with me? So the answer is this: I'm giving you 100% course refund. So you cancel it anytime, you get 100% refund, or you cancel it after you join session and the first two sessions are delivered. Let's say next month 5 and 6 I said, or 7 and 8 at the date whichever I said. I'll again re-mention it. But that date I made my training and unfortunately you didn't like it. You take one more session, you see that, still you don't like it. Feel free, you can write a message openly in the chat in here. Let the other learners understand that my training is not good. And without any question, I will discuss with you what is the problem and I will make you to understand if there is a problem from my part or your part. But at the end of the day, still you don't like it, 100% refund you will be getting. So that will be mentioned in the invoice which you will be receiving for sure. So 100% refund, and that's definitely one of the things I can guarantee for you. So all these I'm doing because of the confidence that I have, that I have delivered corporate trainings for hundreds and thousands, and that, as I said, 5,000 plus people have delivered already the trainings on. Now, not only that, you don't trust me with these, but these are my feedbacks. Let's say 28/5/2021. Last night I took the screenshot, and the same day I completed a training on AZ303, Azure Architect. And these are my feedbacks. So you can start from here. Let's say, thank you for the valuable training, or thank you for great course. Cheers, everyone. Let's say the other one, the same training it is, and that the other things. Thank you, Kishore. Great, appreciate. Or let's say thank you, Kishore, for the efforts. So thank you, Kishore, for the training, was very informative and helped me plenty. So not only this, and I did 303 for other clients. So these are some feedbacks you can see. So like, thank you, Kishore, for a great course over last 5 days. Cheers, because last 5 days I did that. That's what I did for them. That's easy 303 for a corporate and UAE. I don't want to mention the name as it's compliance form. Same way, the other things like you can see, these are feedbacks like for the training, clarification, efforts, they are thanking me, appreciating for my efforts. And again, you can see these are not taken long back. You can see the dates in them. Thank you, Kishore, for the valuable lesson and lab sessions. Good luck and stay safe. Or this is my salesperson from another organization who came up with this information that their client is happy on the way I gave the delivery. That's the overall thing. So again, you can see this is the feedback of that particular client, salesperson's client is mentioning that is good trainer and is well explaining and clear to content from. So that's my name. I just hidden in here. Same way, you can also understand like the one good training, Kishore. Thanks so much for efforts you put into. So just mentioning it's that proofs are important, and that's the reason I took the screenshots with the dates so you can understand day in and day out, 365 days, almost every week I'll be entangled with corporate trainings. See, thank you for guiding through the careers course, or it could be like, thank you very much for the wonderful interactive session, or again, other way, if you can see, like these are other feedbacks, the efforts I gave, or thank you, Kishore, for wonderful session. No issues on, let's say, very informative session. Just putting these pointers to make you feel confident about you're going to right place. And you see the people appreciate me and everything. Now, finally, how can I take the course? You can please scan the following QR if you're interested in. My team has already shared the link with you, but you can enroll to the course. Unfortunately, the LMS is not yet ready, so I don't have the complete website where you can purchase the course. That's why I'm manually entangling you with the course right now, since I thought of launching it on the given date. I didn't want it to back out. So you can scan the following QR if it can, or if not, please check the chat. My team has provided the link for you. You can just provide the details there and we will get back to you with a clear-cut explanation on all your doubts so that we can enforce and make you to be a part of my course, which starts by next Saturday and Sunday. Now, very big question, what is the cost? So making it clear, I'm charging 20K, that is $275 or 20 INR, which provides you the book, as I mentioned, unlimited number of retakes of my all the AZ104 trainings, which I do or other people in my organization do, who is from my company in the next 1 year. Same way, I'm also providing the other one, which is the Azure Pass, which most of the companies doesn't give, and if they give, they charge you like 60K and 70K. Not only that, there is another one that is typically the support I'm providing for 1 whole year on making you to understand the problems and sorting. Practice test, I said I'll be giving you, recordings will be given. So think of it, 20K and everything is included in it. And trust me, it's not a business because as I said, I make a very good money in the corporate trainings. So this is a passion for me where I wanted to give a cheapest learning platform for people. And that's why it took me 2 years even after starting my company and making good earnings to start this with, because I don't know how to reach to people. So that's where I'm learning now. Now you check this, go to different websites and check. There is a website, I don't want to mention the name. Those company offer a course on this on, let's say 16K. And that again includes tax, which reaches to 18 or 19K. Again, they don't give you 1 year full access to the all the sessions, rather they give you only your recording. No Azure Pass will be provided, no Azure book will be given. So I'll be giving all these. So think of it and you can just let me know. So any questions you get, just feel free to reach us in here, kishore@cloudbeaver.net. So that's my email ID. So the team will write it in the chat. So reach in here for clarifications or fill the form which I provided. So I'll be sending the form again in the email. Please refer to it. And again, these are the social media platforms in which you can reach to us. So trust me, you will definitely love the session because I have designed it in that way. You can understand it for the last 30 minutes to 1.5 hours that I delivered. So any thoughts from anyone? So the reason I'm not able to reduce the cost less than 20K is because the book and etc., which I mentioned, they have a very big challenges and things in it. And trust me, at the end, in total, probably I make 5K. That's open statement I'm giving. And 5K is like a trainer who is spending time for delivering this for each participant. I get a margin of 5K. And that's not like what I do in a corporate training. In a corporate training, I make like 5 to 10 times more than that for each learner. So I don't want to say that, but mentioning because this is a passion. The reason why I'm doing it is because I want to take you a cheapest learning platform with all possibilities. So any questions you have, please go ahead now. So recordings will be given, Prem. I'll be writing an email. Same like you got the email, you'll be getting the recording in it. So don't worry. So 204, yes, Prem. I'm going to launch 204 as well. Need to reach to the people in the market. So 204 with the same context and same pricing. All the features which I had now, the same quality will be getting. So I'll mention it in an email. So 304, Pavan, I'm planning to complete 104 and learners who complete 104 will learn to or look to go for 304 or 303, the architect. So I'm planning for that one as well, which you can look into. So no issues. So you can directly reach me in here. And again, the WhatsApp group I've created one for Azure admins. So Srisha, you can please place the WhatsApp group link. I think you have in the message with you. Please provide that here so that people who wish to join, let them join. And again, I'll reach back to you with an email with the details of the session and the recordings. So it's now up to you. If you're interested, you can reach out to me here or just fill the form that my team has given you in the chat. Once more, I'm giving that in the chat. So go ahead and fill the details. So this is going to help me to reach to you and give you a valuable course at the cheapest pricing tier. So go, please do make your comparisons. Trust me, I'm not saying that there is no cheapest course less than this. There are people giving it, but I'm giving it something with all the combinations, which as I said, you are getting all these. When I say all these, 1 year free access, recordings and etc. and etc. What is the charge for exam? Okay, Manoj, exam will be like 4,800 INR with taxes, but I can offer you a voucher that could help you to cut short the taxes. That will be like, I cannot include the voucher in all these pricing. As I said, this is the cheapest way I can offer for now. But exam vouchers, I can provide you maybe the voucher which will be discounted with taxes from the government. That's the one I can help you with. We'll discuss that maybe once after you come to the line. Yep. Any other questions from any of you apart from this? Cool. Can I get responses from everyone? The feedback for the session. Did you like it? Can you rate me 1 out of 5? What is your number? All of you will be getting the recording. Don't worry. I'll be shooting out an email for all of you. Trust me, you'll be receiving the recording. You're welcome, Sakib. And guys, I'll be writing an email. Just information from you. So, did you people receive my email to your inbox or to the junk of your mailbox? Can I know that so that I can understand like how can I sort these problems which I face? Because I collected all of your details, but I wasn't able to land it. Thank you, thank you. So junk. Okay. So Mukesh, training and support. Probably you reach to us. You reach to us. Let me discuss with you on that. Okay, inbox. That's nice. Cool. Yeah, so I'll plan it. I was not aware, as I said, this is the first time I reach to people, so I'm not sure like whether it's going to land in inbox. So that's why I just shoot out many emails so people will check their junk if it is there. Anyways, you can reach out to me here, and yes, we can plan things. So all other trainings, I'll be shooting out an email whenever I launch a new certification training. So if you have any more questions, let me know. If not, we are going to wrap up now, and that's a completion from my part. Yeah, Riaz, I just shoot it out like every 12 hours an email because I was not aware of how this will work. If it goes to junk, then all my efforts are useless. So, and again, I spent a lot of money in the marketing, so I didn't want to waste this. Yeah, hi, Riaz, tell me. That's fine. Anyways, any more questions from anyone? Bye bye, take care. Once again, for information session. You're welcome, Prem. You're welcome. Well, shooting out to you the emails probably by today. And do whitelist the mailbox, kishore at the rate of cloudbo.net. Please whitelist it, as I'm not sure if it is landing in the junk or in all these. So I'm doing that. Anyways, any more questions if you have, let me know. If not, I'm going to now end the webinar. I hope that we'll be seeing back soon with upcoming free webinars and the training sessions as well, which I'm organizing now. Well then, thank you everyone. See you all. Bye-bye. I'm expiring the session now with exiting now. See you all then. Thank you.